यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ॐ 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 जय जय राम जय राम सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। Hari Om. In Panchadashi 7th chapter, there is a question which is raised by the student, and the student is asking the teacher that my mind is very disturbed. It keeps racing all the time. And this is somewhere around 127th verse. So by that time, a lot of teaching has been given, everything has been told. But the student is asking this, that can you tell me something by which my mind will be quietened? In a text like Panchadashi, the answer given is very unique. Vidyaranya Swamiji says, the way of quietening the mind is by reading Itihasa and Purana. But he says, be careful while reading Itihasa Purana. Read it in such a way, take the right meaning. And if we do that, our nididhyasanam will not be disturbed. You know, the verse is, nididhyasana vikshepaha na itihasadibhir bhavet. The mind will be quietened to such an extent with this Itihasa and Purana that one can effortlessly go into contemplating upon Vedanta right after this study. But only thing to keep in mind is we should take the right message and always remember that the main essence of any prasanga is Bhagwan Rama. The tatparya, the essence of studying any prasanga is Bhagwan Rama. Either it is a saguna form of Bhagwan or nirguna form of Bhagwan. This is what makes a text like Ramcharitmanas different from any other poetry. Because there are so many poetries written, so many plays are written on Bhagwan Rama and Ramayana. But it is not necessary that their purpose or the goal is to end up in having devotion to Bhagwan. Right? The reason I brought this topic is, although it looks like Goswamiji is elaborating a lot of mundane things. He's talking about many traditions, and again he's elaborating all of that. But if you are able to appreciate the essence of this prasanga and remember that Tatparya is in Bhagwan Rama, essence is in Bhagwan Rama, then our purpose of studying this is fulfilled. Okay, that is what makes it different from any other poetry. And that is why we also have Phalashruti of chanting this Chaupais. In many places we have seen that, even in Bhagavatam you will see it is said the one who reads this prasanga with faith, with devotion, that person gets this result. Now this Phalashruti will not be possible for any other poetry. Right? At least I have not come across any poetry where the poet claims that after reading this poetry 4 times, you will get certain result. These are the chaupais which have been given by Lord Shiva. It was in the mind of Lord Shiva. So every chaupai, every doha has some deep symbolism. Now we have reached the prasanga where Bhagwan had reached the palace of Janak Maharaj, that mandapam which was there. Bhagwan, along with all the horses and all the 4 brothers, Dashrath Maharaj, now they have come to that mandapam. And here Goswamiji pointed out the nature of that horse. Okay, that was this. Underneath Saraswati ji, river Saraswati ji, which is flowing in this Ramcharitmanas. On top there is Yamuna ji and Ganga ji. Bhakti and Jnanam is there. Bhakti and you can say karma, but Saraswati ji is Jnanam. So these chaupais were of that nature. How was that horse going? Prabhu mana sahi laya leena manu chalata baji chabi pava. At every step, it was merging its mind with Bhagavan, tuning itself with Bhagavan at every step. Like that, it was going ahead. Now, the same idea, same concept, we see in shlokas, we see in stotrams like Shiva Sankalpa Suktam. What is the main essence? That last line keeps repeating in Shiva Sankalpa Suktam. Tanme manaha Shiva Sankalpam astu. Means Bhagavan, in this mind, may I develop the ability to tune it with your mind. At every step, like that horse was tuning itself with Bhagavan, in our own vyavahara, if we can take Bhagavan's approval for each of our action, if not each action, at least majority of our actions, majority of our thoughts, and ask Bhagavan that Bhagavan, this is what I am planning to say. This is what I am planning to do. Do I have your approval? Bhagavan will give his approval. Sometimes he will, both are there. Sometimes he will deny, sometimes he will approve. The denial also is one form of his guidance. That is the only way for us to grow in our sadhana and become more adhikaris, become better adhikaris of Vedanta. What is it? Whatever Bhagavan has to say, he has already said in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever he has to teach, whatever he likes, everything he has said in Bhagavad Gita. It's only a matter of asking him whether my thinking, my action is in tune with Bhagavan's teaching. When that happens, that is what we call as karma yoga. Right? Tanme manaha Shiva Sankalpam astu. So more and more this individual mind gets purified, more it is able to tune with Bhagavan, but most importantly, be happy. Okay, that was this horse prasanga. Taking our proposals to Bhagavan, not insisting on that proposal. And whatever results come, accepting them, not demanding anything in particular. That is this horse. Prabhu mana sahi laya leena manu chalata baji chabi pava. Karma yogi taking Bhagwan to this vivaha. Then we saw in several places Goswamiji saying what happened in this vivaha. People forgot differences. This was 319th, 4th chaupai. Apani parakachu sunahana koi. They could not hear themselves, they could not hear others. Meaning when Maya is removed, all differences are removed. That is what happened. And even today we will see several chaupais where Goswamiji is bringing the same idea. They did not recognize anybody, and that is how everybody was drowned in this Ananda. And the third important thing which we had seen in the last session was the nature of Janak Maharaj. This was the 320th doha, the chandas above that. Nijapani Janaka Sujana Saba Kaho Ani Singhasana Dhare. With his own hands, he is setting up all the chairs for Dashrath Maharaj and other rishis and whoever is going to sit in that mandapam, not too concerned about his own identity. He is also a king, he is a Brahmajnani, but when it comes to Vyavahara, he does exactly what it is needed from his side. So today we will see the prasanga of Vivaha, but the symbolic aspect also, Goswamiji will hold on to it very strongly. If we reach that portion today, we'll see the symbolism, of all of them who are getting married. And what is this mandapam? So much he has described. He says, I described it for some purpose. Okay, we'll see that later. Now this is after 320. We'll read a little. Okay, maybe we'll just chant one and then we'll start reading. Okay, after 320. Bahuri ki ko salapati puja jani isa samabhau na duja कीन्हि जोरि कर बिनय बढ़ाई कहि निज भाग्य विभव बहुताई पूजे भूपति सकल बराती समधि समसादर सब भांति आसन उचित दिए सब काहू कहूँ काह मुख एक उछाहू सकल बरात जनक सन मानी दान मान बिनती बरबानी विधि हरि हरु दिसी पति दिन राऊ जे जानी ही रघुबीर प्रभाऊ कपट विप्रबर वेश बनाए कौतुक देखी अति सचु कौतुक देखी अति सचु पाए पूजे जनक देव सम जाने दिए सुआसन बिनु पहिचाने पहिचान को के ही जान सब ही अपान सुधि भोरी भई आनंद कंदु बिलो की दूलहु भय दिसि आनंदमयी सुर लखे राम सुजान पूजे मानिस आसन दये अवलोकि सीलो सुभाव प्रभु को विबुध मन प्रमुदित भये रामचंद्र मुख चंद्र छवि लोचन चारु चकोर करत पान सादर सकल प्रेम प्रमोदुन थोर सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Now Janak Maharaj took care of Vasishtha Rishi as though he is his own guru, and all other Rishi Munis were there. Vamadev Rishi was there, several other saints and sages. All of them, he gave them appropriate arghya, appropriate respect, and took all their blessings. Now he is doing puja of Dashrath Maharaj. Who is doing this? Janak Maharaj is doing puja of Dashrath Maharaj. Now somebody must have asked Goswamiji, why did Janak Maharaj have to do puja of Dashrath Maharaj? Why did he have to wash his feet and do everything? This is the reason that he gives. Bahuri कीन्हि को salapati puja jani isa sama bhav na dhuja. In the eyes of Janak Maharaj, there is no difference between a person and Bhagavan. So he is looking at Dashrath Maharaj not as king of Ayodhya. He is looking at Dashrath Maharaj as his own dear Bhagavan. With that bhava, he is doing his pujanam. Not any other bhava. Jani isa sama bhavuna duja. No other bhava is there in his heart. He is seeing Bhagavan himself sitting as Dashrath Maharaj. Now this freedom, Bhagavan has given all of us. If we want, we can cultivate this bhava like Janak Maharaj. And it's a great step in our sadhana. We all are seekers of Advaita Vedanta. Right? We have to abide in that Advaita Atma. That is our goal. But it is said to really come to Dvaita, not Advaita, really to come to Dvaita itself is one step up in our sadhana. Why do you say one step up? Where are we rising up from? We say in general, when we look at this world, we don't see Dvaita. We see Traita. Not even Traita. Sometimes more than Traita. What is that Traita? We see I am there, Jiva is there, Jagat is there, and Bhagwan is there somewhere. This is Traita. I am there, Jagat is there. In that Jagat, there are so many Jivas. And then my Bhagwan, maybe he's sitting somewhere in Kailasa or Vaikuntha. Janak Maharaj over here is not seeing Traita. He says the Jagat which is there, this Jagat is my Bhagwan only. So there is only two over here. I am the one who is doing pujanam, and the one in front of me is my Bhagwan. What we saw in Upadeshasar also. Jagat Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. Now in that Jagat, there are different jivas. And over here, his duty now is to see Janak Maharaj, but he doesn't see him as king of Ayodhya. He sees him as Bhagavan. So this is a devotee. He has come from Traita or manyness to this Dvaita. I mean, there is nothing called as Jagat different from my Bhagavan. There is no person who is different from my Bhagavan. Then that sadhaka will become ready for Advaita. Right? This is a journey in our sadhana to come from Traita to Dvaita and then go from Dvaita to Advaita. So Janak Maharaj is showing this over here. Jani isa sama bhavuna duja. With that bhava he is doing pujanam of Dashrath Maharaj. And then with gratitude, with folded hands, he is praying to him and expressing his joy. Then he does puja of all other people who are seated in that mandapam, who have come from Dashrath Maharaj's side with no hesitation. That is Brahmajnani. He is like the wind, very comfortable wherever Janak Maharaj is going. It is said wind, it doesn't have any preferences. Wherever it goes, it can blend very well. So that quality is of Janak Maharaj. And according to their appropriate sambandha, everybody cannot sit in the same place. According to their relations, they have been given their appropriate seatings. And Goswamiji says, nobody can describe that atmosphere which is there in that mandapam. So much of joy, so much of mutual understanding between everybody. Now Janak Maharaj is showing us what are the four ways of building bridges between two families. Sakala Barata Janaka Sanamani, Dana Mana Binati Barabani. What are the four ways? Dana, Mana, Binati, and Barabani. Dana means gifts, material things. If two families have to come together, there has to be some material exchange of gifts. There is no demand from each side, but some material needs to be given. But only with that, we cannot build that bridge. He says the second aspect is the emotional part. Those are the other three. Out of four, three are emotional, one is material. Dana he gives, then is mana. They feel respected in their other family's house. So mana is there. Binati means whatever he has to give, he's giving it, or he's speaking with lot of humility. That binati is there. And the last one is barabani. Those people who are greater than him, elders are there, rishi munis are there. With them he is speaking very good words. Barabani means speaking about their greatness also, or speaking in such a way that they will feel great. All four things he accomplishes. Now he's just showing this Setu Bandhanama, Dashrath Maharaj's family and Janak Maharaj's family. Now previously we had seen Shachi, who is the wife of Indra, Lakshmi Devi, Parvati ji. All of them took forms. They disguised themselves as those Sakhis and Suhaganis, and then they are reveling in this Ananda. Now Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, Indra, they say, why should we be denied of this? So they also take Kapata Besha. They become some Brahmanas. They take a disguise and then be a part of this celebration. It is said, Brahma is hidden from us through Kapata only. Right? Bhagwan is, it feels as though Bhagwan is different from us because of this Maya Shakti. So here it is said it is okay if somebody uses Maya Shakti to attain Bhagwan. Kapata Biprabara Besha Banai, it is not Dushanam. It is Bhushanam only, because they are using this Kapata for Bhagwan. So with this, all of them are going there. But Janak Maharaj is in his own ecstasy. He does not even recognize that Lord Shiva has come in this form, Brahmaji has come in this form. He just does puja of everybody, thinking everybody to be Bhagavan. You see that Chaupai, Puje Janaka Deva Samajane, Diye Suasana Binu Pahichane. This is how the heart of Jivan Mukta is, and a great devotee. He doesn't distinguish between anybody. For him, everybody is Bhagwan only. According to that is his Vyavahara. Now again, Goswamiji brings that line. Pahichana ko kahi jana sabahi apana sudhi bhori bhai. Who can recognize whom in this wedding when there is so much purity in everybody's mind and everybody is reveling in that Ananda? Recognition comes only when attention is on name and form. Right? When we are in deep sleep, we have no distinction between anything. There is no creation. There are no jivas to begin with. But once these names and forms come, then all our attention goes on differences. At this point, we had seen in Chandogya Upanishad, Simhova, Vyagrova, Kitova, Patangova, all of them go back into that Sat Vastu in deep sleep. But when they come back again and this Ahankara crystallizes, then all differences start coming. So over here in this wedding, all of their attention was on Bhagwan Rama. And that Ananda, which one gets when all differences are submerged, all names and forms are dissolved, that Ananda, all of them are getting right now. Janak Maharaj did not recognize Lord Shiva and other devatas, but Bhagwan recognized all of them. So he mentally did pranams to them. Manasa puja he did and gave appropriate seating to everybody in his mind. He is also playing his Leela. He didn't want to, say anything and spoil the game. So he quietly listened. And then he gave Looking at Bhagwan's humility, all devatas started singing Bhagwan's glory. Now Goswamiji again brings the simile of the moon. Rama Chandra Mukha Chandra Chabi Lochana Charu Chakor. How is everybody looking at Bhagwan? Bhagwan's face is like that moon, full moon. Yesterday was full moon. Today also there is a chance you can go and take Bhagwan's darshan. Don't take darshan of the moon. In moon, one should take Bhagwan's darshan. Then only it becomes meaningful. After the class, not right now. So Bhagwan's face, Bhagwan's beauty is like the moon, and eyes are like that Chakora Pakshi, which is content just by looking at the moon. Like that, everybody was looking at Bhagwan. Now Vasishtha Rishi, he calls Shatananji, and he says, now is the time, you should bring Sita ji. So Shatananji goes and, tells all the Sakhis. So they will go and bring Sita ji, and then Shatananji will bring Sita ji to that mandapam. So all, the queen, Sunaina ji, she hears this for the first time, and she's so happy. But finally, this time has come. I have to bring Sita ji now. Mixed emotions are there. But in her heart, she's feeling very happy. But amongst all the Sakhis, she found a very different joy. Being with those Sakhis who were these Devis, who had taken that Sakhi form. Parvati ji was there. Shachi was there. Lakshmi Devi was there. All of them who had taken form of those Sakhis. Other Sakhis and Sunaina ji, they felt some special joy being around them. This is the third chaupai. Nari Beshaje Surabara Bama Sakala Subhaye Sundari Syama. Tinahi De ki Sukh Pavahi Nari Binu Pahichani Prana Hote Pyari. They did not recognize them. But even though they did not recognize, still they felt that they were dear to them more than their own pranas. Why? Because they are, divine mothers, all of them. Divya Shakti they are. Lakshmi Devi is there, Parvati ji is there. We are reminded of that prasanga in Bhagavatam when Brahmaji takes away all Gopabalas and Bhagwan Krishna becomes all Gopabalas, including their stick, everything Bhagwan only becomes. And then the show runs for 1 year without anybody noticing. When you read this, you wonder, Bhagwan can take any avatar any time. So for that 1 year, it is said, the mothers of these Gopabalas, they experienced an inexplicable joy. Why? Because Bhagwan's Chinmayi Shakti had taken the form of those Gopas. So like that, all these Devis are there without telling anybody. They have taken the form of ordinary human being. But others are experiencing a very unique joy. Sunaina ji and all other Sakhis. Now with this, all the Sakhis are getting Sita ji ready to bring her to the mandapam. And then Sita ji and all other Sakhis, they're having very auspicious decoration, and then they're singing different songs, and they're bringing Sita ji to that mandapam. Their song was such that even Muni Dhyana, that got left behind. Kala Gana Suni Muni Dhyana Tyagahi Kama Kokila Lajahi. Even Kamadeva felt that his cuckoo bird which is there, that is also nothing in comparison to all these Sakhis. And there is so much of Mangalam in that mandapam, so much of auspiciousness is there, that there is no scope for Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Shuddha Sattva, what one can see, that they are seeing in this mandapam. Now Goswamiji says, Sitaji's beauty is indescribable, and looking at her, a sense of auspiciousness is invoked in everybody who is waiting for her at the mandapam. All of them see Sitaji coming, and they do pranams in their mind. आवत देखी बरातनी सीता रूप राशि सब भांति पुनीता सब ही मन किए प्रणामा देखी राम भय पूरन कामा. Second chaupai after 322. All of them did pranam to Sita ji in their mind, and Bhagwan Rama, he became Purana Kama, means whatever desire he had in his heart, as though it was fulfilled. Now somebody might say Bhagwan is Purana Kama to begin with. How come he became Purana Kama now? We say that Kamana in Bhagwan was Adhyaropita by Vasishta Maharshi or Vishwamitra Rishi. Right from that time when he said, I will take you to Dhanushya, Vishwamitra Rishi did Aropa, Adhyaropa of this Kamana. And when he saw Sita ji, Apavada took place. Whatever was that Shuddha Swarupa of Bhagwan Rama, that he is again abiding in by seeing Sita ji. All this is mananam of great Mahatmas. We should just appreciate how they have thought about the same chaupai. Because Siddhanta should not be shaken anywhere. Bhagwan is Purna Kama to begin with. How will you explain Dekhi Rama Bhaya Purana Kama? They said Kamana was Adhyaropita. Now there is Apavada. Nothing has happened to Bhagwan per se. Now Dasharath ji is very delighted with all his sons. And all the devatas, they bow down and then they shower flowers and everything. And there is different kinds of music, kettle drums, all of that gets played. And everybody is in indescribable joy right now. Now Sita ji comes to Mandapam and both gurus, they do Shanti Path and do all the traditions which has to be done in a very elaborate way. Now all of them are doing that ceremony under the guidance of Vasishta Rishi, Shatananji and Vishwamitra Rishi. Three great gurus are there. Janak Maharaj and Dashrath Maharaj are in-laws. Bhagwan Rama and Sita ji are the bride and the bridegroom, who are going to get married. Now what all things happen when such a combination is there? They are following all traditions, what Goswamiji writes. Different analogies that we will see now. First, they do pujanam of Gauri ji, Ganesh Bhagwan, and all Brahmanas. Whoever is there, their pujanam they do. And whatever homa that they are doing, if this combination is there, people of this kind of faith and devotion, devatas themselves take a physical form and accept those ahutis. This is the power of pure heart. This is the second line of that chandas. Sura pragati puja lehi dehi asisa ati sukha pavahi. All the devatas are becoming manifest there. Generally there is a fire and then ahutis are put with this shraddha that Agni Devata will take those ahutis to appropriate devatas and bring sukham in our life. But in this wedding, Agni Devata took a physical form and he himself was accepting ahutis. That much was the power of the rishis. That much was the power of Janak Maharaj and Dashrath Maharaj. Now, while these rishis were doing that homa, they would have needed several things, right? All samagri which are there for homa. The people who are there from Janak Maharaj's side, they are so tuned with these rishis that before this, thought has come in the minds of those rishis that this is what we need next to do that homa. Before they say anything, the people from Janak Maharaj's side, they are ready with those things in their hand. Madhu parka mangala dravya jo jehi samaya muni mana mahu chahe bhare kanaka ko para kalasa so taba liye parichara karahe. So all the people, they are standing ready with whatever samagri they need for this yajna, those rishi munis. That was a tuning they had with rishi munis. Now who is giving instructions to these rishis? Right? What to do next? What are the traditions which are followed in Raghuvamsha? none other than sun god. Surya Devata, he is guiding this marriage. He is guiding the ceremonies and the traditions there. Kula riti preeti sameta rabi kahin det sabu sadar kiyo. And Janak Maharaj and Vasishtha Rishi and Vishwamitra Rishi, they are not feeling offended. They are great rishis. Surya Devata says, they are my students also. Right? Surya Devata is the most ancient teacher. He says, Vasishtha Rishi, he did Upasana on me and he got Gayatri Mantra. Vishwamitra Rishi. Vasishtha Rishi is also a great Rishi. All of them are okay with me giving them instructions. So he is telling them these are the traditions which are followed in Raghukula. According to that, with lot of love, everything is being done over here. And now Sita ji is made to sit on that Singhasana, that seat which was there for her. And then she sees Bhagwan Rama for the first time now in that mandapam. And that mutual love between Sita ji and Bhagwan Rama, that devotion which is there, that Goswamiji says is indescribable. Nobody can give any example for that. Now he says, during this Havan that was being done there, fire is lit, Agni Devata himself has taken a physical form. And all the Vedas, they have taken the form of a Brahmana, all other Brahmanas who are there, and then they are doing this different rituals, telling different vidhis, different ceremonies which should be done over there. Okay, this is 323. Vipra Besha Dhari Veda Sabha Kahi Vibaha Vidhi Dehi. Okay, that is what is happening there. Now Goswamiji says, I have described everybody. Janak Maharaj I have described. Sita ji, her glory I have described. Bhagwan Rama, time and again he is describing. It would not be complete if Sita ji's mother, her glories are not described. So this is the only place where we get to hear about Sita ji's mother, Sunaina ji. Okay. The name itself is very deep. Sunaina ji is the wife of Janak Maharaj, who is Videharaj Janak. One who has risen above body identification, one who is ever merged in that Atma Swarupa. That is Janak Maharaj. His Shakti, his power is Sunaina ji. Right? Sunaina means one who has beautiful eyes. But eyes over here represent darshanam. Okay, darshanam means what is our perspective. In our Sanatan Dharma, we have Shad Darshana, 6 different darshana, which are Astika Darshan. And every darshana had a great acharya. They had their own sadhanas. They have their own philosophy. Okay, what is the nature of Atma? How to live a moral life, ethical life. All of that is given in each darshana. And we have 3 other darshanas, which are Nastika darshanas. But the main point is the word darshan. Like we have Bauddha darshan, Jain darshan, Sankhya, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Vedanta. That is also one darshan. So one in whose life, any darshan it could be. You can say Dvaitam also. Dvaitam also is part of darshana. It is part of Vedanta darshan only. Advaita Vedanta is non-dual, but in Vedanta you have Dvaita Vedanta also. So darshan means one has settled in one of these perspectives, one of these way of looking at life. And any situation that comes in life, that person will face that situation with their darshan. Okay, they will not keep swinging in between darshanas. Suddenly they become Charvak, suddenly they become Dvaita, suddenly they become Advaita. Not in that way. They have settled very well in one darshan. That is this eyes, Naina. So one who has settled very well is Sunaina. Okay, somebody who is in Dvaita darshan, any experience which comes in life, what is their perspective? Perspective is, this is not an experience, this is my Bhagwan coming. And I have no insistence that he should come in this form only. Okay, whatever form he comes, my Bhagwan is appearing as his creation, then why insist on he should come in this form or that form? He can come as Narsimha Rupa also, or he can come in Saumya, Krishna Rupa also. Both are okay, both are my Bhagwan only. Now we will realize how difficult it is to become Sunayana, to settle in one darshan, to come from Traita to Dvaita is not easy. But one who has very well settled, that one is Sunayana ji. Only to Sunayana ji and Videhara Janak, somebody like Sita ji will be born as a daughter. Okay, so this is Sunayana ji, and you see how Goswami is describing her. He says, what are the points with which we can know Sunayana ji? He says, Brahma ji has made her with Sujasa, good name, Sukruta, lot of punya. Result of that is Sunayana ji. Sukha, happiness, and Sundaratai, beauty and values and gunas in all aspects. These four things put together was Sunayana ji's personality. Saba sameti bidhi rachi banai. Brahma ji has made her with these four things. Sujasu Sukruta, Sukha Sundaratai. Now all the rishis, they call Sunayana ji and say, you have to come now and sit next to Janak Maharaj. So it is said during this time when there is Kanya Danam, which is going to be done, the wife sits on the left side. Otherwise she is on the right, but in this occasion she has to sit on the left side. So Sunayana ji is sitting along with Janak Maharaj on Janak Maharaj's left, and she is adorning him just like Maina ji adorned Himavan during the wedding of Lord Shiva and Parvati ji. Suddenly Goswami ji remembers the Shiva Vivaha Prasanga, okay, that he brings over here. Now both of them bring golden plate and golden pots filled with very pure water, auspicious water. Must be from different rivers they might have brought it. And they keep those plates and those kalasham in front of Bhagwan Ram. Why are they keeping this? They say now they are going to wash Bhagwan's feet. Okay, that is this prasanga, very beautiful. Goswami ji elaborates it in different chandas. Now this is where the wedding, part is going to come. All of them are getting ready to wash Bhagwan's feet, Janak Maharaj and Sunayana ji. But in their eyes they have tears and they go in samadhi. Time and again Goswami ji reminds us, they have not forgotten the power of Bhagwan. In their mind, they know that this is not only our son-in-law. He is Lord of the universe, and the dust of his feet was so great that it liberated Ahilyaji. That same feet we are getting to wash today. Okay, so that is the bhava with which they are doing this, and Goswami ji himself elaborates this chandas. Let us chant this one after fourth chaupai, after 323rd doha, the chandas which comes after that. Little too high, reduce the scale. लागे पखारन पाय पंकज प्रेम तन पुलकावली नभ नगर गान निशान जय धुनि उमगी जनु चहु दिशि चली जे पद सरोज मनोज अरिउर सरस दैव बिराजहि जे सकृत सुमिरत बिमलता मन सकल कलिमल भाजहि जे परसि मुनि बनि तालहि गति रहि जो तकमयी मकरंद जिन्ह को शंभु सिर सुचिता अवधि सुर बर नई करि मधुप मन मुनि जोगी जन जे सेई अभिमत गति लहै ते पद पखारत भाग्य भाजनु जनकु जय जय सब कहे बर कुंवरी कर तल जोरी साख्यो चारु दो कुल गुर करे भयो पानी गहनु बिलो की विधि सुर मनुज मुनि आनंद भरे सुख मूल दूलहु देखी दंपति पुलक तन हुलस्योहियो करि लोक वेद विधान कन्या दानु नृप भूषण कियो हिमवंत जिमि गिरिजा महेशहि हरिहि श्री सागर दई तिमि जनक राम ही सिय समरपि विश्व कल की रति नई क्यों करे विनय विदेहु कियो विदेहु मूरति सावरी करि होम विधिवत गाठी जोरी होन लागी भावरी जय धुनि बंदी वेद धुनि मंगल गान निशान सुनि हर्षहि बरषहि विबुध सुरतरु सुमन सुजान सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय राम सिय सुंदर प्रतिछा कुंवर कुंवरी कल भावरी देहि नयनु लाभु सब सादर लेहि जाई न बरनि मनोहर जोरी जो उपमा कछु कहूँ सो थोरी राम सिय सुंदर प्रतिछाहि जगमगात मणि कंबन माहि मनहु मदन रति धरि बहु रूपा देखत राम बियाहु अनुपा दरस लाल सास कुचन थोरी प्रगट दुरत बहोरी बहोरी भये मगन सब देख निहारे जनक समान अपान बिसारे प्रमुदित मुनि न भवरी फेरी नेग सहित सबरी निबेरी राम सिय सिर सेंदुर देहि शोभा कही न जाति विधि केहि अरुण पराग जल चुखरि नीके शशि भूष अहि लोह अमीके बहुरी बसेष्ठ दीनि अनुशासन बरु दुलिहिनी बैठे एक आसन आवर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय we couldn't stop in between the ceremony. Okay, so they have to go around the fire and then they are seated now. So Janak Maharaj and Sunaina ji, they have brought that parata, the plate, golden plate, and that golden kalash with auspicious water, and then they are doing pada seva. They are doing washing the feet of Bhagwan. In their heart, they know that these are not ordinary feet. Je pada saroja manoja ari ura sarasadaiva birajahi. It is that feet on which great Rishi Munis, they meditate. Meditating on whose feet their mind goes in samadhi, that feet they are washing now. And then they say, just remembering Bhagwan's name, meditating on his feet gives so much of punya that it removes all inauspiciousness. And they themselves are remembering all the leelas that Bhagwan did and what is the greatness of his feet. It is the same dust which liberated Ahilyaji. Je parasi muni bani ta lahi gati rahi jo paata kamai. That dust of the feet is, right here. That is what we are doing Abhishekam to. It is the same feet from whom the most pure, auspicious Gangaji, she flows, and that Gangaji Lord Shiva has held on his head. That is the greatness of the feet of Bhagwan. Makarandu jinako sambu sira suchita avadi sura baranai. You cannot, describe the purity and the greatness of this feet, because from that emerges the most pure and the most exalted Gangaji, whom Bhagwan Shiva has held on his head. And then he says, this is the alambanam, the support for all Rishi Munis to go in dhyanam and accomplish great, great siddhis. In Upasana, you need some altar on which one can do dhyanam. This feet of Bhagwan is that altar, meditating upon which great Rishi Munis have gone in samadhi. That feet we are getting to wash today. Te pada pakharata bhagya bhajanu Janak jaya jaya sabaka. All others are also so delighted. And Janak Maharaj is getting to do this great punya. Not everybody can do, Only people like Janak Maharaj and Kevat, they got this punya to wash Bhagwan's feet. Now Rishi Munis who are there, Janak Maharaj is there, and then Vasishta Maharshi, Shatananji, they take Bhagwan's hand and Sitaji's hand and they put them together. This is called as Pani Grahanam. Pani means hands are representing Vyavahara. Whatever Vyavahara we do, that is a symbolic meaning that in all major steps in our life from now, in all dharmic works that we are going to do here onwards, we both are together. That is a symbolic meaning of this Pani Grahanam. In Dharma Karya, both of us will walk this path together. And of course, all experiences, whatever come, we will go through this together. That is a promise which is done. And then looking at Bhagwan Rama, who is Sukha Mula, Janak Maharaj and everybody is so delighted that this hand is not ordinary hand, it is of Bhagwan Rama. Sukha Mula Dulahu Deki Dampati Pulakatana Hulasyohiyo. With that, all of them are rejoicing. They remember how Himavan had given Parvati ji's hand to Lord Shiva, and how Samudra Devata had given Lakshmi Devi's hand to Lord Vishnu. All of those memories, they come to their mind and they are very happy. Videharaj Janak, he becomes Videha today. Okay, this we had seen earlier also. But Goswamiji writes that again. Kyon kare binaya videhu kiyo videhu murati savari. There was so much joy, no doubt, but looking at Bhagwan Rama, Videharaj Janak became Videha. Okay. And then all other rituals and that homa, everything was done according to traditions. And all 5 types of dhvani, Jayadhvani means the sound of victory, Jai Jaikara. Bandi Dhvani, all the bards, they are singing. Veda Dhvani, Vedic chanting is going on. Auspicious other songs are being sung. And all other musical instruments are getting played now while Bhagwan is doing that, rounds around that fire. All flowers and everything are being showered. And Bhagwan and Sita ji take the rounds and their marriage is complete. Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai. Har Har Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadeva. Now Goswamiji is describing few more things. Now he is a master in finding examples. Now how did Sita ji and Bhagwan Rama look? He cannot give any ordinary example. You see what he says. Bhagwan Rama and Sita ji, they were looking so beautiful. Their reflection was falling on all the pillars. Those pillars which were made of gold. All the banana and plantain trees were there. On them, Bhagwan's reflection was falling. Rama siya sundara pratichahi jagamagata muni khambana mahi. This is after 324th Doha, second Chaupai. Means in those pillars, Bhagwan's reflection, shadow was falling. And that shadow looked so beautiful as though Kamadeva and Rati have taken many forms. He's not describing Bhagwan directly. He says reflection of Bhagwan in that pillar. That was so beautiful. It looked as though Kamadeva and Rati have taken a physical form. And they are very eagerly looking to get Bhagwan's darshan. Okay, all the reflections which are there in those pillars. They come and go as though they are eagerly waiting to get Bhagwan's darshan. Now Videharaj Janak, he became Videha, but all others also became Videha. This was the greatness of this wedding. They forgot everything and just immersed in this Ananda. All other rishis, they completed all the rituals, traditions, everything. And now Bhagwan has to put that sindura on Sita ji. How did that look? Bhagwan taking his hands, that red sindur, putting it on Sita ji. Goswamiji says, you see this one, this is 5th Chaupai after 324. Aruna paraga jalaju bharu nike, sasihi bhusha ahi lobha amike. It looked as though that pollen which is there, the red pollen, it has been mixed, and out of that this sindur has been made. Bhagwan's hands are like lotus, which has taken that sindur. His palms, they are like that lotus. And his hands are like a snake. You have to get the right analogy. Don't look at other things. Don't look at the poisonous part, but just the beauty of that snake. The way in which it moves. Like that, Bhagwan's hands are moving with that, lotus-like hands with this sindur. And then Sita ji is like the moon. If there is a full moon on that, if this snake with lotus-like hands is taking that pollen and putting that, how it will look like that, Bhagwan Rama was taking this and applying to Sita ji. Now Vasishtha Rishi, he gives them instructions. Now they are not sitting on opposite side. Both of them are sitting facing in the same direction. Okay, this is symbolic of the Gotra being changed. Now Sita ji's Gotra is not Janak Maharaj's Gotra, it is Dasharat Maharaj's Gotra. That is a symbolic part of sitting on the same side, facing the same direction. All these rituals are very beautiful as long as we appreciate the deeper meaning of it. One thing we should keep in mind, Sanatana Dharma is Hita Pradhana. Means it only thinks about our well-being. So every ritual which is there, one should put forth effort to think about what is, the well-being in this ritual. Why, if our ancestors have thought about it, why they would have thought about it. Some of it, of course, is there in other Smriti Granthas and everything. but otherwise it is something which has to be reflected upon. Like this Pani Grahanam, right? There is a symbolic meaning behind it. That hands represent Vyavahara. In Dharma we are together. Okay, like this all. Other rituals. I was hoping to get to this Chandas, but we couldn't get to it today. Now Goswamiji gives the symbolic meaning of this entire Vivaha Prasanga. He says, I described that mandapam with so much of detail. There was a purpose behind it. What was that purpose? We will see in the next session. Okay. Aganita Gunagana Bhushan Rama Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama Dasharathanandana Shri Rama Dashamukhamardana Jaya Jaya Rama Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama Papa Vimochana Shri Rama Pattabhirama Jaya Jaya Rama Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama Jaya Raghurama Jaya Sita Rama Vanara Sevita Shri Rama Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama Patita Pavana Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Syavara Ramachandra ki jai Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Next Monday we will have our class, because later we will have a few weeks where we'll have to take breaks, because of several other activities. So next Monday we'll have our Ramayana class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah. Hari Om.